Dear students, today we are going to study about the new poem, The Darkling Thrush, written by Thomas Hardy. Now let us know about the poem. The Darkling Thrush symbolically mourns the passing of an era. In that respect, it is an elegy, a mournful poem that deals with the death, here the death of the century. He talks about the end of the 19th century and beginning of 20th century. The darkling thrush is rich in metaphor. Darkling means of the darkness and conveys an end of days. Here the dusk doesn't just refer to the dimming of life. On a deeper level, we'll deal with despair and death of the century. The darkling thrush is about one person's reaction to this change. It is about hope in the face of despair, about endings and cautious beginnings, about courage when all seems lost, depending on the way you look at it. Now let us start the poem in detail. First stanza. On the last hours of the 19th century, the speaker is leaning on a gate which opens onto the woods. The gateway here is suggestive of a new place and a new century, and the act of leaning suggests that the speaker is tired and dejected. The speaker is outside on a barren landscape on a wintry, frosty evening. The frost has made this landscape spectral grey, that is, as grey as ghost or a haunted landscape. It seems that there is no life at all, and the entire world is grey. This shows nature as a relentless force, and when the world turns away from the sun, it brings cold and darkness. In the 15th and 16th lines of the stanza, the poet has used a simile to compare tangled vine stems to strings of broken lyres. The broken lyre underlines the absence of harmony and therefore signifies the absence of joy in the speaker's visions of life. In the last two lines of the stanza, the speaker has presented a contrast between the barren outdoors and the warm and inviting households. The speaker outside on a barren landscape, while the rest of the world is comfortably inside, warmed by their household fires. Thus, from the first stanza of the poem, the world appears to be a bleak, colorless, and cold place, with a few memories of the melody and warmth that have vanished. Now, let us see the second stanza. The second stanza of the poem intensifies the speaker's perception of the gloomy wintry landscape in a series of metaphors associated with death. The first metaphor refers to the sharp outlines of the winter landscape, which appears to the speaker like a sharp features of the corpse of the dying 19th century. The cloudy sky seems like the century's tomb and the winter wind its death song. The lines 13 and 14 refer to the seeds of spring, which are now shrunken hard and dry. This depicts how the seeds get reduced in size, become hard and dry during the winter season. It is suggestive of the fact that the very process of nature are at a standstill and that the next spring might not come. Every spirit on the planet Earth seems to have become lacking in passion and intensity as the speaker himself. It seems that the speaker is not just hinting at the death of the old century, but the death of the pulse of life that vitalizes the energies him and other people, the death of hope. Now let us move to the third stanza. In the third stanza, the tone of the poem changes from desolation to hope. The speaker suddenly hears an old thrush breaking out in song. The song that the thrush sings is filled with unlimited joy, quite in contrast with the image of the bird. However, the song has been referred to as a even song, meaning a song sung in the evening. It is significant here both are an aged bird and because it is the last day of the century. The bird is aged and frail, perhaps facing its own imminent end, yet it flings its soul ecstatically upon darkening evening. The image of the bird choosing to fly his soul upon the growing gloom is suggestive of both hope and desperation. Now we are moving to the last stanza of the poem. This stanza is filled with a sense of life and hope brought by the bird song. But the speaker is unable to comprehend what terrestrial things could make the bird so happy and make it sing carollings. Though, it, though the speaker can recognize joy in the bird song, he cannot experience it himself. However, the word blessed and the capitalization of hope suggests that there might be religious or spiritual reasons for the bird's joyful singing. First, an even song is a service of evening prayers and so related to religious ceremony in the church. Second, the carolings are reminiscent of Christmas carols. Third, hope is one of the three Christian virtues: faith, hope, and charity. Finally, the speaker has personified hope as if it were a human being giving hope to mankind. It is the indirect reference to Jesus Christ. Although the speaker acknowledges his inability to understand the cause of the bird's joyful singing, it fills him with the feelings that there may be some causes for hope in the bird's song and that in time he might come to know that cause. So let us read this poem again and again. Now we can wind up our today's class. Thank you.